Baruch Hashem. So with that being said, we have the SHOVAVIM period continue here in Parashat Bo. The SHOVAVIM is a time period where there's 6 parashot, 6 weekly Torah portions, which is an auspicious time to do tshuva for immorality crimes, especially the issues of, whether it's wasting seed, homosexuality, adultery. People that do tshuva during this time certainly get an extra benefit in Shemayim, but to do a tikkun for tikkun abrit, it's not always enough to simply stop. A person has to encourage others to do tshuva also if he wants to wipe out some of the sins that he or she has from the past. If she caused people to sin as a result of her immodesty, if she sinned with them. So a person needs to make sure that they do as many steps as possible to rectify the past. As the prophet Yecheskel says that don't let the past be the stumbling block of your future. So one of the things that the sages instituted and taught us was to actually do tikkunim. And these tikkunim are not just the traditional tshuva of stopping the sin, saying I'm sorry for it, not repeating the sin, staying away from it, all of the basics, but also doing other things that are necessary. And the Arizal specified that each person has to do a certain amount of fasts per each sin that they've made relating to immorality. Like I said, adultery, homosexuality, wasting seed, a Jew being intimate with a non-Jew. Even if the sin was one time, there's an account for that in fasts. And of course, since the generations have become weaker and weaker, anyone that looks at the number of fasts they need to make for each time they sinned is weakened immediately until they find out that they could actually rectify those or replace those fasts with money. And that, for anyone that wants to know more specifics about that, go to the website tikkunabrit.live. tikkunabrit.live. Over there we have a whole write-up explaining the tikkunim, how much they cost, and anyone that wants to do tikkunim can also do it on that website as well. Because there you'll have the opportunity to not only do the tikkun itself to replace the fast, but also help us do kiruv, which is, again, like I said, a double benefit that no other organization that I'm familiar with, whether it be English or otherwise, can do. It's just simply because this is something that we created with the film and the teachings we have about this topic. So, Baruch Hashem, in addition to being during this time, we're obviously more specifically, we are in a time of Parashat Bo. Parashat Bo is a extraordinary parasha that in the opening of the parasha, the Ramban, Nachmanides, the same holy Ramban that we're learning his Igeret HaKodesh every Tuesday night about the Jewish intimacy and the holiness of Jewish intimacy. For anyone that's missed out that series, you've literally missed out on a piece of Gan Eden. So the very same holy Ramban has a famous commentary on Parashat Bo, and in fact it's actually on the last verse of Parashat Bo, teaching us the following. And he says, and it shall be an ot, a sign upon your arm, and an ornament between your eyes, for with a strong hand HaShem removed us from Egypt. So the Ramban comments on this particular verse and says, a person has no portion in the Torah of Moshe Rabbeinu without believing that all things that happen to us are miracles, whether communal or private, not at all natural or the way of the world. Meaning that there is no such thing as something is natural, something is part of nature, something is normal. The Ramban says everything is a miracle, and anyone who does not believe that everything is a miracle, whether it's you blinking your eyes or being able to make ends meet, or it's being saved from chas v'shalom, some type of car crash or a disease disappearing, like we said in the story last night, everything is a miracle, whether it's for the community or if it's privately, everything is that. And if he fulfills the mitzvot, he will be rewarded, and if not, he will receive punishment. Everything is decreed from heaven. Therefore, nothing is purposeless nothing big or small. So here we see that the Ramban elaborates on what the Gemara in Masechet Chulin in page 7b says in the name of Rabbi Chanina, that no bruises on even a finger of a person on this earth ever happen unless it was decreed against them in heaven. And here we see that before anything happens, there's a bed din that decides everything that happens. But even more so, he actually puts a additional pressure on the people to understand this concept of reward and punishment by adding the fact that not only is there a reward and punishment, it's an obligation, but there's also an obligation to believe that everything in the world is supernatural. There is no such thing as something natural, and anyone that has a problem with believing that has no share of the Torah of Moshe. In so many words, they're considered an apikolos. So this is obviously a very, very important part of Judaism that a person just simply must understand. I know that today there are many people that claim to be rationalists and they try to rationalize things. And the funny thing is that many times these people are burim ve'amei aratzot, they're complete ignoramuses that don't really know very much, aside from a few things they've read online or heard in some video that they simply keep harping on over and over again because they have not received their spiritual fulfillment for that day or even for their lifetime. So they're constantly bothering the world with their confusions. It's important for a person to know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs everything. There is no other force out there that can decide something outside of Hashem's will. And this is actually one of the critical things that could either help a person complete their tshuva and literally elevate them from the bottom of the barrel that they're in into a holy stage where they could literally live a life full of holiness, full of blessing, full of all of the wonderful things that Hashem wants to give them, whether it's marriage or children or a good parnasah, an enormous amount of Torah. Literally, achev picha ve'amaleu, open your mouth and Hashem will fill it, says the pasuk. And it's a person could literally be elevated through this basic knowledge and understanding, or could literally be doomed as a result of just simply rejecting it. Let me know what you think, and make sure to share it, because other people need to learn too.